As moms, we are constantly juggling things, and it could feel like your brain is on an overdrive. Sometimes it feels like there's never a quiet moment, and on top of that, you add overthinking to the mix. It's like that unwelcome guest who tends to show up at the worst time. So let's see how we can kick out that overthinking monster and take back control of our mind. We're going to blend the perspective from psychology and as well as a more holistic one. And both have very similar perspectives. Now imagine you're a mom, you're busy doing work, housework, looking after your child, and then you suddenly get an email from your boss saying that he's going to speak to you about something important in 2 days. Now what happens in those 2 days? Your overthinking starts spiraling and getting out of control. You keep imagining the worst and wondering what your boss needs to talk to you about. And it's the weekend, and you find yourself spending a lot of time during the weekend getting all these negative thoughts about what your boss wants to talk to you about instead of just waiting for the next 2 days. We create narratives in our head that are way worse than reality. Whereas it could be something really positive like a promotion. And then for some of us, social anxiety creeps in, wondering what other people are thinking about me. Are they criticizing me? Are they judging me? One simple tip is you can acknowledge that you're overthinking. This simple act of just acknowledging that you're overthinking can make a big difference. Don't you feel better when you speak to a friend about things that you could be overthinking and they tell you, hey, you're overthinking? So why not start saying it to yourself? Once you realize that all these unwanted thoughts are cropping up in your mind, stop, pause, take a minute and tell yourself, hey, I'm overthinking. 2 is to understand your triggers. What sets off your overthinking? For me, it used to be bedtime. As soon as my head hit the pillow, I'd start getting all these unwanted thoughts. That's because at bedtime, you're not distracted, so all these thoughts come to play then. Whereas during the day, you may be distracted or busy with your work, and those thoughts are at the back of your mind. But once you know your triggers, it's easier to anticipate them and have a plan. Another tip is to schedule your worry time. Yes, it may be confusing, but what this means is to set aside a time of the day, which could be in the afternoon or early evening, never too late at night, where you take the time out to think about what is troubling you. And use this time to maybe write down what's going on in your mind. Getting it out of your mind earlier in the day will help you sleep better at night. You can even confide in a close friend or your partner just to get out what's going on in your mind so that it doesn't crop up later at night when you do not want it to. Also, once you're on paper, you see them more objectively. And at times it also helps you come up with solutions and helps you see that it's not as big a deal as it is in your head. When you're feeling overwhelmed, engage all 5 senses. This helps you be in the present moment and not focus on what's going on in your mind. Another tip is you can try bee humming breath. It's also called Bhramari Pranayam in yoga. Humming gets rid of every thought in your mind. 2 things that will help you stop overthinking are mindfulness and cognitive diffusion. This is where you learn to observe your thoughts without judgment. And one of the best ways to stop overthinking is to have a friend who listens to you in an unbiased way. Someone you could share all your thoughts with, whatever you're going through. And they may help you see what you're going through from a different perspective. If you don't have someone that you can confide in, ask yourself, what would I say to a friend who was overthinking or who was in the same situation as I am, and what advice would I give them? Another thing you can do is move from abstract thinking to concrete thinking, which means removing all those vague thoughts from your mind and focus on specific action that you can take to improve the situation that you're in. Here, you're taking charge and doing something. And that is so empowering because it reminds us that we are not helpless and we are in charge of our own lives and our own thoughts. Overthinking does not have to rule your life. You have the power to choose how you react and how you perceive your thoughts.